Hey everyone, Erin from the Impatient Gardener, and today I thought I'd just update you on some things that have been happening around the garden. I've been working really hard in the garden, and for a variety of reasons, sometimes I just don't make videos. Sometimes it's just something really simple that I don't think is really worthy of a video. Sometimes I've done videos on that topic before, and sometimes, frankly, a lot of times, I'm just so busy that I just want to crank out projects without pausing to get some video of it. So I just thought I'd walk you around and show you a few things that you haven't seen yet or updates to other projects. And I thought I'd just start right here with, now I didn't even take the labels off the bottle, but you can see the beautiful pink. This is the chive blossom vinegar. I just put it right back in the same bottles that the white wine vinegar came out of. I didn't even take the labels off because I'm just going to use this myself. It doesn't need to be pretty. I know exactly what it is, and it is delicious. So I hope you guys had a chance to try this out, or you hang on to that recipe so maybe you can try it in the future if your chive blossoms are already gone on you. Okay, the next thing I want to do was show you some of the containers that we have growing around here that I didn't get a chance to show you when I was planting them. So first off, I want to show you the deck containers. These are the two containers that I grow going up posts on the deck. Sort of a half day of sun and then basically full shade after that. A lot of these are repeats actually from last year. First of all, the purple bell vine. So if you guys didn't hear, I think I've mentioned this in a couple other videos, all of my purple vine seeds didn't work. I actually re-sowed twice. I got nothing. I ended up actually buying plants from Select Seeds. It is a very hard plant to get started from seed. I don't know why. It's just really, it's just tough. And then sometimes you get going and it just sits there and does nothing. They really just want heat and they grow so quick once they get in it. So I'm hoping it's as good here this year as it was last year. Also, this is Main Street Coleus, an Ogon grass, and then I just did a Terenia for the first time I've done that, and this is a yellow and purple one, so I'm sort of hoping to pick up some of those other colors. And I repeat that on the other side, but you can't see that right now because we're actually in the middle of putting in a new deck railing, so that side of the deck where we're working right now is really a mess. So you might recognize this container because I actually did a lot of things very similar to last year, but I loved the way the container here looked last year. So I just made a few little changes, and really I kind of copied the same thing. So last year I had just one of these salmon. Now this is Iconia upright salmon begonia, and then I had two white bossa nova begonias on either side. This year I just did the salmon because that was the one that I liked the best anyways. I put in some Dichondra silver falls, and then up here just the silver shield plectranthus, which you're going to see throughout the garden this year. And I did get a Rex begonia vine to grow up here. It's so small though that if I stick it in there right now, it'll just get drowned. So I'm hoping it can grow and I can stick it in there later to kind of go up this trellis. But I still like the background of the trellis even if there's nothing growing up it. So only 3 types of plants in here. I think it's better for the simplicity. So as long as we're by the garage, I just wanted to show you this. Do you guys remember the boxwood I had growing in this pot, right in this spot between the 2 garage doors last year that died? Well, it's been replaced, but this time it's a yew. I just thought I'd give a yew a shot. I've actually had no problems with deer browsing on it yet, although I do spray it. And you can see it's a little wonky. I'm still working on pruning it. I'm looking for sort of a teardrop shape. I don't want something that's going to look like a Christmas tree. I want sort of a teardrop. And so I'm still, you can see it's still a little off balance. And so I continue to just keep clipping at it and I keep rotating it, hopefully so that it grows evenly. We'll see, but I'm happy to have something back and I like the simplicity of this. Plus there's really not a lot of sun over here, so your options really are limited for what I can grow over here. So here's the new yew. So I always love a little bit of wild and crazy in a container. This year I might have gone maybe a touch too wild and crazy in this particular container, but I do like a little bit of free rangingness. So this is the container by the front door. The front door is up quite high, so I always feel like we need some height to make this kind of tie into the front door. So this year I went with cup and saucer vine, which I think you can see is growing well. I did grow this from seed. It took off really well for me this year, and I think you can see it's just going crazy. In fact, I'm got to start sort of tucking things in a little bit more and maybe even pruning off some of these. Then I added in, there's so many plants in here. So hiding in the corners, there are little verbenas, sort of a purple and white bicolor verbena, which kind of is getting crowded out a little bit. I'm trying to get in there and save it. I also have a mini helichrysum here. This is sort of a gray foliage helichrysum. Lots of Gara in here. This is just the white Gara. Some purple heart in here, and Transcantia. This is the Angelonia super blue. So this is quite the tall one. This is the same one that I planted in the urn container. And I've got a few of those around. And then I have another Plectranthus, just one that's sort of popping out all over. I just planted one in the center and have let it sort of pop out. So if it looks like this in June, I'm a little afraid it's going to look really unkempt later in the summer. But I think all these things should take well to pruning. So if I need to go in here and just amend some of this, I will. But this is sort of my wild and crazy container for this year. Just a quick stop here at the Pagoda Dogwood trees that we planted in these containers last year. They're very happy. They're growing very quickly. Obviously, I think you can see that they flowered quite a bit. We've got all kinds of berries forming on top of here. Couldn't have been happier with this change from last year. I am sort of trying to scope out what the next plan is with these. They are growing fast. They do need watering more frequently than they did last year. So I don't know if we're going to get 3 years in these containers out of these, or if I might have to plant these in the landscape this fall. I'm just going to kind of watch them and see how they do this summer. If they start showing signs of stress this summer, I'll probably plant them in the landscape this fall and just buy new ones. But I'm pretty committed to this idea. I think it looks really nice here, and I love the form of these trees, and they're performing great in this spot. I do have some sort of random containers kind of clustered on the deck, which work well. We replaced this door this year, and so now it goes down to the ground instead of sticking up. So I sort of clustered containers on either side of it. So this is the Senecio skyscraper that I planted up in that video where I showed you some new plants. This is Corsican mint down at the base here, which is just spreading lovely and just kind of coming over the edge of that container exactly how I had hoped it would. In this next container, I just have mint, and I have a pepper called Armageddon, which is apparently hotter than ghost pepper. I have no intentions of eating it, but my understanding is that it's quite beautiful. So I thought I'd grow it nice and hot in this container here. If someone wants to eat those peppers, they can. It won't probably be me. And then next to it, I have a kumquat. So I planted an agami kumquat this year, and it's doing pretty well, and I think it's beautiful. I'll be bringing this in winter, and so far, so good on it. I'm kind of happy with how it looks there. Don't anticipate getting a kumquat, but you never know. Then on this side, I've got actually 2 figs. The small one in the basket there is Little Miss Figgy, which is doing great. And there are figs on it. And I probably should pull those off, but I'm not going to. And then this other one this is a Chicago Hardy fig, which is also doing pretty good. It's got a little bit of leaf scorch, but I think it's doing okay. And then I just did a little basket down here just with some Primavera lavender and Kent Beauty ornamental oregano, because I thought those would be kind of pretty in that little cluster. And then I always plant a few tomatoes, small tomatoes in here, and peppers, and a little bit of basil. So I've got a Patio Delight tomato with some tomatoes on it, a couple of evergreen Emerald Towers basil. This is Demon Red pepper. And I think I've got a hell of a Potapino pepper back here. Yep, that's Potapino pepper, which actually has a couple peppers on it. And then that's supposed to be a Mexico midget in the back there. Hopefully it is. Before I move on, I'll just quickly show you how the urn's looking. Actually, it's looking pretty good. I'm sort of wishing for a bit more color right now, but that's because there's no color really. Oh, first Dahlia. Look at that. That is HS First Love, I believe. There's not a lot of color in this border yet, so I'll probably be happy that there's not a ton of color in that. I mean, just very limited color palette once all of this starts blooming. This is Tiny Tough Stuff hydrangea, which is just starting to bloom. And you know, I always try to make these blue, so I acidify the soil, but what's interesting is that you get some that are sort of blue and then some like back there that are sort of pink. But all of this will come into bloom soon, and then there'll be a lot more color here. So I've just pruned up these boxwoods. Now the big boxwood that you see there, that's green velvet. I've had that one for many, many, many years, but this year I added, this is green gem in front of it. I just actually shaped these yesterday, so my shaping needs a little work maybe on the big guy. I'm pretty happy with the little guy. And I added 2 other boxwoods to this garden because I felt like it needed a little bit more structure to it. So once they get a little bit bigger, I think it'll be pretty good. So back there is another green velvet that I've just put in this year. And then if we walk down this way, so here's another green velvet, sort of underneath the serviceberry here, and then I've got a baby gem kind of tucking in right there. So I think this will add certainly some evergreen structure for winter, but also the rest of the year just felt like there's maybe too many random things in here. Oh, look at this monarch posing on this Wizard of Oz Dahlia. Things are still a bit of a mess here. I'm still finishing things up and cleaning up the patio, but the autumn gold rose, which was the one that I tipped over last year, bloomed really well, and it's still blooming. Still got lots of flowers and lots of buds on it. Up at the top of this trellis, this is Pearl d'Azur, and she's beautiful. Really, really tall clematis, so you want, and it blooms only really at the top. So you really want like something where it's gonna, you know, do what it's doing there, which is sort of hang down and look beautiful. If you've been following me on Instagram at all, you know that the poppies have all just started popping. Here is a stand. Now these are really tall. I mean, I would say these are, you know, 4 feet tall probably, which is much taller than they are anywhere else in the yard. I don't know what accounts for that. But it's a beautiful little stand. These were all winter sown. Remember when I winter sowed poppies back in January? This is one spot where I put them right on top of the snow so you can see everything that's coming up here. And of course, I love the seed heads as much as I love the flowers. So I will leave some of these stand. Not all of these probably, but I'll leave some of these to stand. But it's just so pretty, this little cluster of them. That blue foliage gets me every time. And then the last update I wanted to bring you is the one that maybe excites me the most, which is that after 3 years of many people in the comments telling me to put fish in the stock tank pond, I finally did it. I was really resistant to it because I was afraid of taking care of them, and I was afraid of what I would do with them in fall when we empty the pond, which we still will. But I did it. And not only has the water never been clearer in here, but also I come out here all the time to watch them. I find it just so interesting and peaceful, and I just love it. It adds an entirely different dimension to this garden, and I love it. I actually ended up just getting what they call feeder fish, which apparently are the fish that people buy to feed their other fish. I went to the local pet store, and she said, you know, just try some of these. So I actually have 3 different kinds of feeder fish in here. I don't know my fish from Adam. For fish people, I think one set was called wolfies. Some were called rosies. They're kind of the longer orange ones. And then I have guppies, which are like not even a ½ inch long. All of them seem to be doing well. I have had a hawk visit this, so you might have gotten a few. And I have found 2 or 3 dead orange ones. But they didn't look great when I got them, to be honest, because I got 2 rounds of them. So that's the fish situation. And here's the big lotus. Now the lotus that I planted in the little pot at the front door is not doing anything special, but this lotus is doing really good. I planted it in the same way. Hopefully we'll get some blooms soon. It's been getting warm, so hopefully we'll see some blooms I hope. I don't know if it's possible for me to ever film in the vegetable garden and not end up eating something. And now I'm snacking on some peas. The peas are just coming in here and they're delicious. I imagine they're going to come quickly now. It's gotten really quite warm. So I think the peas will be coming and going quickly here. Okay, so those are just a few updates. I'd just like to keep you guys updated with what's happening. And we'll revisit these things, but I just thought all of those might be of some interest to you. And I'm just watching a cabbage white butterfly on my kale right now. That's what I get for not covering it, right? So I hope your gardens are going well for you. I still feel like I have a lot of big projects to do in the garden. I'm hoping to wrap those up here in the next week or so, because at some point you just have to stop working and start enjoying, and that's hopefully where we're going to be at shortly here. I hope you're having a great day in your garden, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.